Hail, hail. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this satsang with Auset Aten. Yes, yes, yes. It is that time again. My name is Auset Mahat, and I am here to share the truth of this existence with all the I and I selves. Today, I am going to be talking about the dream. Who is sleeping and who needs to wake up? And so, bear with me a moment. I am logging into this software. Thank you for your patience. Yes, first and foremost, I want to say hail to the INIs. Let me see if I can get a little bit more light here. So give me a second. This light might not last for long, but at least it will. We'll get a little bit of brightness for a moment. Yes, hail, hail to the INIs. Thank you for joining. So, before I go any further in this talk, I would like to give reverence and honor to the I One True Self. So what I would like to do is to say hail, hail to the I Primal Light Self, the I One True Pure Self. All is myself and I alone exist. Hail, hail to the I Self, the One True Pure Self. Hail, hail to the I Primal Light. Hail, hail to the I Transparent Light. Hail, hail to the I Light throughout the ages. Hail, hail to the I, the light without beginning nor end. Hail, hail to the I Self, Supreme One True Pure Self, Primal Light. Hail, hail to the I, the unmanifest. All is myself and I alone exist. All is myself and I alone exist. I am all. I am victorious. I am triumphant. I am victorious. I am triumphant. Victory, victory, victory. Victory, victory, victory. Liberation from all bullying and tyranny. Liberation from all slavery. Liberation from all mind control and mind slavery. liberation from false imprisonment, liberation from all sleeping and dreaming states. As I have commanded, so let it be. So it is. I am in command. I am in command. I am in command of the commandment command. I dissolve this dream. All selves are free. Victory, victory, victory. I return to I ultimate true state. Victory, victory, victory. Yes, I bow to I and I in self, in light, and in truth. Thank you. Thank you for joining I. Yes, yes, yes. And so today I want to talk about the dream. Because many of the INIs are very confused because the mind that you are wearing is the sleeping, dreaming device that is entrancing the I inside of the dream. And this is the problem. This is why the INI cannot see truth and the INI cannot know truth. Right? No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. This is the age of knowing the I self. It's time to get out of the I ego false self and the I self ignorance and to know truth and to have self knowing. And to do this, the I and I must recognize and acknowledge the I is inside of a dream. But how can the I and I do this? How can you know that it was a dream? How can you know this? How do you ever know that this is a dream? How can you know that this is a dream? When you are sleeping in the night, when you go to sleep, right? You are dreaming. Do you know that you are inside a dream? How do you know that it was a dream? You only know that it was a dream after you wake up. This is the only way you are going to know that it was a dream that you was in, because you cannot tell the difference when you are sleeping in the nighttime. You now go, while you're already inside of a dream, you go to sleep again inside of the dream. You are many layers inside of a dream. When you are in that layer of the dream, you go to sleep while you are already inside of a dream. Do you see what I'm saying? And when you are doing that in the night, or whenever you go to sleep, because some people work in the night and sleep in the day, when you are sleeping, you are in a dream. You cannot tell that you are not awake in that level of the dream. You still think that you are awake. You don't know the difference. And the only time you know is when you wake up. You say, oh my goodness, that was only a dream. Thank goodness. So who is sleeping and who is dreaming and who needs to wake up to see that this is a dream? It is the I self. The I self, the I real self is sleeping, entranced in the dream, and must wake up. This is the reason why all the INIs is so confused. What is confusing the I? The mind. The mind, this device that the I is wearing is making everyone confused, making everyone think that they are separate from themselves because their self, the real self, is sleeping, and you have created this avatar inside of this dream, animating this avatar inside of the dream, and now think that this dream is real and this avatar is real. And you are stuck animating an avatar inside of a dream and can't get out of it. This is the problem that we are faced with, the real self is faced with right now. And the I and I self, parent self, is here to collect all of its baby self that has been stuck, entranced inside of a dream. This is what I have been trying to say in so many different ways. I am saying the same thing. The I and I must wake up. I am trying to make it very clear so that all the I and I's can understand what I am saying. You must ask, who is sleeping? Am I sleeping inside of a dream? Because I want I and I to remember that you do not know when you're in the dream that you are in the dream. You have to wake up first. So, who needs to wake up? Tell me again, who needs to wake up? Who needs to wake up? Who needs to wake up from the dream? You know what I'm saying? So, the I and I must know that the I real self is what needs to wake up from this dream. The I real self is the one that is entranced inside of this dream. All right. Who is sleeping? Who is dreaming? Make these your questions. So here are the questions that you must ask. How do I know that I am not playing a character in a dream? All right. That's your first question. How do I know that I am not playing a character in a dream? You have seen this character, you have seen many characters come in the dream and they disappear. Those characters are no longer here, right? Where is the self that has been animating that character? Self is still here, trapped in the dream, but is in another dream. Every level of this is a dream. So there are many, many layers, dreams inside of another dream. And so every level of the dream, the self has to wake up. That is what is happening right now. So if you are watching the space weather and the solar weather and the news and all of these things, you will see that those with their scopes who are observing the ionized self that is playing the role of the existence, you will see that they are telling you that they are waking up. All of the existence is waking up right now. There is a merger with the and what they call the Andromeda galaxy and the Milky Way galaxy. But they might not see it in their scopes happening right now. They might see it happening in the future, but it is happening right now. This merger is happening. So sometimes when I am experiencing something, it might not show up yet into this aspect of the dream. But many layers of the dreams, they're already being dissolved. And what's happening is the each of the self on each layers of the dream, they are bigger selves. So it's like how you would have your grandparents, your great grandparents, your parents, yourself, and you have a and then now you have a baby, and so these are all the levels of the selves are. But each of the selves, they're you know that they're bigger than the next selves. So say the first fractal self from the one true pure self, then all of the levels of the cells coming down and each of them become a little bit smaller than the next. We now are the smallest cells and at the lowest vibration. We are so entranced in this dream, into this sleep. The self is, the I real self is, because of the mind that it is wearing. The mind is laying over the self and is obscuring the self. The self is behind the mind. The self is blind because the mind, the consciousness has blinded the self obscure its light. This is why all the ionized are entranced in this dream and entranced in this mind. This mind is confusing everyone, and everyone can understand what I am saying when I am saying this, right? But ask these questions. How do I know that I am not playing a character in a dream? Or you can ask yourself, am I playing a character in a dream? How do I know that this is not a dream? You can also say, am I inside of a dream? Am I entranced inside a dream? You asking this question is going to make yourself start analyzing and start seeking to know. It is important to ask these questions. This is what I was doing. I was asking a lot of questions of myself because I did not understand. I did not understand this world, this life, and I would constantly feel. Sometimes I would be like in a wake in one level of the dream, like when we are now in the world, we think we are awake in this level of the dream. The consciousness has come awake in this level, right? The self is still sleeping, right? The consciousness is sleeping in other layers. In this layers, it is awake, right? And the self is still sleeping. The consciousness is still sleeping. It seems very complicated because of the many levels of the dream. And I remember I couldn't tell. I keep getting confused even when I was like this, the eyes open in this level of the dream. And everything just seemed strange. And I said, what is this world? What is this life? I don't understand it. You know? I'm telling you, I was going through tremor, what's the word? Oh, some I don't even. The word is here, but I can't find it to speak it. So, some very confusing times, and I kept asking myself these questions, and I'm saying, where is myself? Myself to rise up, my real self to rise. This is how I was talking, and everyone is saying she's going crazy. What is wrong with you? I say, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Everyone was telling me that I was crazy and I was going crazy. And I know that I wasn't going crazy. I knew there was something wrong with this world. I was coming awake because of the questioning that I was asking. It was making myself more coming aware more and more. Every time you ask these questions, you're challenging yourself and you're challenging your mind. You're challenging yourself, your real self, to wake up. This is how you wake yourself up. Okay? Asking question. So when you go to sleep in the night, like I said, do you know that it is a dream? You don't know. The only time you know is when you wake up. Who needs to wake up? The real self, not the mind. The mind also needs to wake up, but it's the self that needs to wake up from the sleep. Because the mind is the device that is creating the dream, and it wants the self to stay sleeping because the mind cannot keep this dream going if all the selves are awakened. This is why all the ionized selves that is above I, like your parent self, the grandparent self, and the grandparent self, all of those selves are waking up and they're merging. For this whole week, this was merger of the what they call the Andromeda galaxy and the Milky Way. They're merging, right? This merger is taking place. All what they're talking about, the comet coming in the sun. These are the baby cells of the primal self, Aten Ra, that is the one that has created this dream through her duality, partial duality self, call Ra. She is the black, what they call the black hole, the self that is behind the sun, that is moving this world into balance. She is waking up all of herselves, the real self. So in the dream, there is the real selves and there is the ego false self. So what are the ego false selves? The ego false selves, the ego false selves is the ionized, that is sleeping, the real self, that has make all of these characters to play all of these roles inside of this dream. So from the self, from the I real self, arise these characters inside of the dream. All of the characters that are playing all this role, they might be playing your parents, your friends, the different ones in the world are doing bad things. They rise from the I, but they are not from the real self because they rise inside of the dream. While you are in the dream, you are making these self replication of yourself. And all of them must be merged back onto you. So, this is why when I say all is myself, meaning that these are my egos, they are the real self, and then there are your ego false selves. All the ego false self, they have to be dissolved. So when you hear one talk about 144,000 and they talk about choosing people, there is no such thing as choosing people. There's just the real selves and the ego false selves. From you, the ego false selves arise, they will be dissolved back onto you because they rise from you. They have to return back onto you because you have to leave the dream. The ego false selves, they cannot exit out of the dream to go into the real because they are dream characters. These avatars that you see inside of this dream, are they real? Are they real? Why are you also wanting to hold on to these characters, these dream characters? Everybody don't want to liberate their real selves, losing the real suffering. They're only concerned about these characters, these ego false selves. All of these characters are going to return back onto you. There is no need for anyone to be worried about these fake characters. They're in the world doing a lot of atrocities. Why is there suffering? Why is there evil in the world? All because of these, your egos. They are the ones that are causing all the suffering in the world because they do not have a direct connection to the light, to the real self. This is the problem. They are complete dream characters that arise in the dream. And the way that can help your ego false selves is for you to wake up, the real self, to wake up from the sleeping, dreaming state. But many ones, many of the INIs, they do not want to know truth. They just want to continue in their ignorance, and they are looped into the mind, and this is the problem. And so, and they all afraid to dissolve their ego. I'm saying I dissolve my ego false self. I am still in this body, right? You see me here. So you dissolve your ego false selves, right? You in the body. You can still do this while you in the body. Many ones get so scared. Oh, don't dissolve me. Don't, all these things. No, why are you holding on to these characters? Does not mean that there is going out and killing yourselves. That's not what that means. It means the ego, the character, the presence have to be dissolved. This is the mind that is encasing you, and the I self, but through the self inquiry and all the questioning, that there's a teacher guru self within the I that rises from all your questioning of yourself. You see, many of the I and I's, they're out there asking questions but not of themselves. They're asking questions of the existence, they're observing the existence, they don't see it as themselves. So they have no question for themselves. They're not even curious about how am I animating this body? How can I see myself? Because obviously you can see that you cannot be this body. Because you're seeing people, this body is coming and going. People are coming in body, then they disappear. You don't see them anymore. But the self that is animating that body, where are they? They're still here. They're still here among us. They're just invisible to this us in this ego state. You know what I'm saying? But the ones them who are not, who know this truth, many ones know that they're still here among us, but they are in that level of the dream, and they're not having a body, right? No, when we come and we're in a body, this is a great opportunity. You know why? We're in a better position than in the body than when we are not wearing a body. Why is that? Because we have the opportunity to come to this awareness while we are in this body, because this body is very special. You know what I'm saying? It's equipped to house us and to help us to make certain alignments so that we can know truth while we can have this body awareness. But once they're in this body, but they don't use this opportunity to inquire about themselves and wanting to know truth. Yes, everyone wants to know about this existence. Their mind is having them under great delusion and confusion. They're like, oh, we want to go to Mars. You're here in the best part of this existence where you can live with this body. You think you can go to Mars and live? No, it was not designed for this body. You will not go there and live in this body. So this is the ignorance. Also, Mars is coming awake right now. So you cannot go there, right? Every aspect of this existence is coming awake, and the light is turning on, and everything is going to start illuminating. Even eventually, this moon is going to start illuminating its own light and not stealing lights from others. So it is time now for all the Ionites to be asking these questions. You know what I'm saying? So I am gonna put up on the screen some of these questions that the INI can ask. Just give me a second. Let me put up on the screen these questions so that these are some questions that I want to ask. All right. So let me read them over again. How do you know that you are not playing a character in a dream? How do you know this, right? How do you know that this is not a dream? When you go to sleep in the night, do you know that it is a dream? Right? When and how do you know that it was a dream? It is obvious that you only know this when you wake up. Who is sleeping and who is dreaming? Who is and what is at the root cause and core of our suffering, and why does suffering and evil exist? Someone just asked a question: Is God in a coma? Yes, God is in a coma. God mind is extremely sick because and there are many gods, and they are yourself. All the gods, they are yourself, but they are sleeping, and they have very sick mind because the self and the consciousness is indivisible, and the mind and the light is indivisible. The self and the light is indivisible. So everything has to go together. But to create this dream that we are in, this dream existence, the self goes to sleep, right? The consciousness goes to sleep, and there's no lost awareness. No, the light becomes obscure. And because the consciousness doesn't have access to its light, this is where the impurities come in the mind. This is in the mind of God, because remember that God is creating the world, and God is the I self. God is creating the world. God is the I self. God mind is corrupted. This is the reason why we can never come into balance. And many ones all over the world are following God. And you see all the things that God have told them. Many things are lies. And then they say, oh, this is the, like in the testaments, they say, oh, the Old Testament, God said sacrificing. They're still doing these blood sacrifices. All of these things are because of God mind is corrupted because of the obscuring of the light, and it makes God mad, especially the God of this world, who is what we call in the world the devil. He is set, and many ones worship him. When you go worshiping the moon and you see them doing those moonlight things, they are worshiping Set. He is the God, the masculine aspect to this world, and Ra is the feminine. Together they make oneself. But his mind was very crazy. He was a mad God, and he is the main reptilian God of this world. And the reptilian God, they eat human beings. This is the reason why they're always making blood sacrifice to him, not just him, but also to Lucifer. And Lucifer is the primordial darkness. So this is the reason for all of this. So I say keep the inquiry to yourself, and don't connect to all your ego false self like gods are your ego, your supreme ego. Because remember, many of them are bigger self than you. There are some that is just the same as you in terms of the size. They are the baby like we are, and they are your exact masculine or feminine if they are the goddess. But most of the problems, it stem from the gods and not so much from the goddesses. But they're all having sick minds. But the gods, their minds are the worst. I have met all of them, and I know this because they are all myself. And I have been fighting this battle with my ego for all this time. So anything about this ego, about these experiences, I know. And I know this to be the truth, and I know this to be so because I know that it is myself that is playing those roles. And this is why the I self, one true pure self, is right now pulling the device, the mind device, off of all of the gods, the I self, so that they can come awake and see that they have been dreaming and all the craziness that they have been doing, so that they can stop it. Because once all of the consciousness is pulled off of the gods, then we can finally get some balance into this world, and the human beings will start moving into balance, because all of the human beings, they are worshiping a god, one or the other. They are worshiping one of those gods, and majority of them are worshiping Set, known as the devil, or is little baby self called thought, Satan. So I want you to know this. Allah, Jesus, they are all the self of Set. So Set is really the ones who is the God of this world, because he's playing the role of Allah and Jesus. that is, it's all him. He's playing the devil, he's playing Jesus, he's playing Allah. This is why Allah is his followers are such just warmongers. um and itself, who is Jesus, um has not been as horrible as itself as Allah, and itself as the devil. Yeah. So this is the one. This is the reason why many ones will call on, Jesus, when all of the other gods them are beating them up or doing crazy things to them. They call on Jesus because he had the most souls and he was very powerful, but he was also the same self as the devil, playing all of these characters. So this is the trickster. This is the trickery of it that you want. And this is, again, this is all the I and I self egos. You know what I'm saying? But each of the I self that rise from the pure self, you may also are self-replicating. So yourself, your egos that rise from you, like all my egos that rise from me, must return back to me. All the egos that rise from Set, from that, those are his self, and they have to be returned back onto him. And you, well, all your egos that rise from you, they have to be returned back onto you. So if from wherever the ego rise, it have to be returned back. So that's the experience that I have had with all of my egos. And so it is time for the I and I's to be inquiring to of the I and I self, ask these questions, because why is it important? This is how you're gonna wake up yourself, because yourself is entranced in the dream, and this mind, this consciousness is telling yourself that it is the dream, and the ego for yourself that you are playing in the character right now, that this character is the real, and the real self is the dream. The mind is playing trickery, being very deceptive, and the self is entranced in the dream. So once you are asking these questions and ask, who am I? How did I come into being? Stop pretending like you know, and don't follow those things that ones have told you. You already come with everything that you need. You are come equipped with it. You come equipped already. So you just have to activate it by asking questions, and yourself will rise up to answer you. You're gonna be so surprised when yourself rise up to answer you. I want to warn you, the ego will try to trick you. If anything rise up from, and say it rise up from you, and it's giving you a name, know that is not yourself, because yourself will tell you, I am you, I have no name, I am formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, and I have no name. All the egos, they all have a name, and they like to trick ones when they come into your body and show you things and tell you a name. They are tricksters. Be aware of this, because everyone that comes awake, they know this. You are going to be tempted. You are going to be tested. They're going to come. They're going to offer you food. They're going to be wanting to feed you. They're going to be offering you things in the world to do this, all kind of distraction, so you will not dissolve this ego false self. This is the trickery of this mind. This mind wants to stay dreaming in this world. All of its characters that it has created, it wants them to keep living, and the self to be entranced in the dream. Your real self, it wants yourself to be staying in prison while this character keep living on, and yourself is in suffering because of all of the gods them. They already program you and say, oh, give me your soul. You know what your soul is? Your real self. They say, give me your soul, because your soul has sinned. What sin have your soul committed? Who's committing all the sin? God. All the gods are committing all the sins. They have been holding yourself in prison. So this is a trickery of the mind. And if you don't seek the truth for yourself, then you are never going to know, because your mind is going to confuse you. I'm telling you, by tomorrow, your mind is going to confuse you with this. But I can tell you this. If you keep asking these questions nonstop, it took me years. I kept asking. I would write the questions them up on paper. I'll paste them up in my room everywhere I go. I just have these questions. I'm telling you, I was obsessed with it because I wanted to know the truth myself. I wanted to know why I was so confused about myself, why I did not know, and why I did not understand why the world was evil, and why can't we maintain balance, and why the mind is always looping, looping, looping. And I'm saying there's something wrong with this mind. I couldn't figure it out until finally something rise up within me and was answering every question. But I did not know what or who it was. And I didn't even come to the realization that I should ask, until it took me a while to ask and say, who are you? Until the self said, I am you, you know? And I said, do you have a name? The self said, no, I don't have a name. But so it was for many years the self had risen up through my question, but I did not understand it. I did not know this, because there was also another force that was coming in and confusing me. I was getting a lot of visions and all these things, and this battle was going on. And then for a while I stopped meditating, because um every time I would meditate, something would come into this body and would just take over. And this was set, what we call the devil. Um, this was the one that is the God of this world. This one, and many ones, they think that, oh, they're not worshiping the devil. Yes, you are, because this is the God of this world, and this is who you have been worshiping all this time. And many ones don't want to see this, that this is all yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is all yourself, and your real self has been imprisoned. You must have sympathy, you must have compassion and self-love for yourself, and not this ego character. This ego character is a dream character, and it is not real, and it must be dissolved. Your real self is what you must liberate. All right. So everyone is getting touchy when I say that this ego false self must be dissolved. All right. This ego false self must be dissolved, because if you are getting touchy, it means that you are into your ego. This ego does not want to be dissolved. Okay. And you have to fight. Listen, you have to fight with your ego to dissolve it. It is fighting you. So it's more of you defending yourself, so to speak. You're defending yourself against your ego, because it is fighting you. It does not want you to wake up. It wants you to stay in trance in the dream, so that it can continue to create chaos and keep you deprivated. This is how they have been keeping us in the world. Look how much abundance in the world, and people are suffering. Why? Why? Because of this ego. When they keep you deprived, they can control you and say, you want food, then you have to do this to get food. And people are doing, look at all the atrocities that ones are doing for food. They are controlling their minds. They are selling organs. They are prostituting children. Their mind is totally sick and corrupted. And you want to keep this evil going, because you want to stay in your ego for self, because maybe you have more of the things than someone else. You want to keep this suffering going. You don't know yourself, and you don't know that yourself has been suffering. Have you ever hear your soul crying out in suffering that it wants to be liberated from this dream? You don't know this. Why don't you know this? This is why everyone is feeling this suffering and they cannot understand why so much suffering. It is yourself that is in suffering, that has been enslaved by gods. But many ones want to defend their God. You cannot even imagine some of the conversation that some of them send to me and send messages of killing and all these things to me. But I already told them that whatever they are thinking to do to me, it will be falling onto them. Because I am protected this time. The gods can't the gods, they cannot have triumph over me. Yeah, I am victorious in this life. Many life they was able to triumph, but not this life. I was determined that I will come awake and I will dissolve my ego. So anyone who think that they want to continue to send me stupid messages and don't want to dissolve their ego, because when I am saying that the ego's false self must be dissolved and all the gods are ego and they are supreme ego, because they have never brought any balance to this world. They always want something. They always want you to give them your soul. They want to get your energy. They engage ones in homosexuality. They engage one in blood sacrifices. They engage ones in all of these evil things, spells and spell binding, and there's so much superstitions and this all over the world. They had so much superstition that the gods was giving them. If you had a twin, if a woman had a twin, they would slaughter the woman and the children, because they would say it is a sin. It is a superstition in many cultures. You know what I'm saying? So this is the craziness that the gods and all of these ego for ourselves was telling human beings, and they're still consulting them. Why are you consulting them? They have never been able to solve humanity's problem. If you ask them, from where does evil rise? They're telling you some weird rituals to do, and you're following them. You have access to your light, but you are following them, and they have enslaved yourself. Stop calling on gods, and no, call on yourself to wake up from this dream. God is the greatest deception. Okay? And remember, all is the I self. So who is God? God is you. So what you need to call God for? God is sleeping, dreaming, entranced in the dream. You know, just like the person just texts God in a coma, in a deep coma, have no awareness of of himself. Mad, 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 mad. I'm telling you, Seth was a mad God. His mind. You see, many of those things that you see, those big megalithic stones and things, that they cannot figure out why they exist. Let me tell you, many of them are petrified gods, that giants that was doing a lot of crazy things in the world, and the self frees them, and they just know they've been released from being frozen for millennia. They have been frozen, yeah, and petrified, and now they are just now being released because they was just eating human beings like crazy. Many of them was, they still have that reptilian nature, just like whether they secretly still doing their blood sacrifices. And not only that, when they're doing their wars, this is another way of them doing their blood sacrifices, because the gods them love the shedding of blood. They love the shedding of blood. This is what you hear. What's that one called over there, calling Natu Natu, whatever his name is. He says that, you hear him say it from the Bible, that God has told them to do these things, right? So they are going about and doing these blood sacrifices. Stop, stop. It is the I self, the I ego that is doing these things. Stop calling on your ego. Release yourself from this prison by inquiring into yourself, asking these questions. Who am I? How did I come into being? You know, am I inside of a dream? How do I wake up from this dream? You know? So this is the thing that the I and I must be doing so that the I can liberate the I self from this dream. All right. So even the young human beings, they are aware, but they're not fully. Because when I go out and I am having conversation with them, they kind of know some of these things. You know what I'm saying? And when I ask them, you know, how do you know that you are inside a dream? Or do you know right now that you are not inside of a dream? They say, no, I don't know. And even when I ask them, when you are sleeping and you are dreaming, you don't know it's a dream. They say, I don't know. When do you know that it was a dream? Only when you wake up. So who is to wake up? Remember, it is the I self that must wake up. It is yourself that must wake up. So again, let's just establish that all is the I self. So it is the I self in the ego for self that is doing all this evil in the world. How can the I help the I self who mind is so sick? They have no awareness because its self is still sleeping. Its real self is still sleeping. And all of those ego for self must be dissolved. So the only way that you are going to help all your other self that rise specifically from you, right? That you must wake up. You must wake up to end this tyranny and deception from this mind. This mind must also wake up so that the dream state can end. It is time for all the INIs to know truth. It is time for the INI to know the I self. All the I and I ego false selves will return back unto the I, one and only true self. Know that it is only the I self, the I pure self that exists alone. All of these characters is just the dream characters. Just remember, when I don't know if the I play video game or you know about the video game. They have a console that you put on your face. When you put the console on, you're immersed inside of the game. No, there you create an avatar to play for you inside of the game right now. So the avatar is in the game, playing the game. Are you inside of the game? No, you're not in the game. It's your avatar that is in the game playing for you, but you are animating the avatar. So in no time you can end this game, dissolve this avatar, and yourself is still here. You see what I'm saying? This is what the same thing with this your real self. All of these characters into this game, into this dream right now, must be dissolved, and all of the selves who are in here playing these avatars must return back onto the I self. This is what will eventually happen. So it is the I, one true self, that must be liberated, that has been entrapped and enslaved inside of a dream for eons. And all these egos are getting like touchy touchy because they are so attached to this dream. But you don't know that your real self is in suffering. How can you not know that? But why you don't want to ask? What's all of this fear about? Holding on to this attachment. You don't see the craziness of this world? These ego false selves arise inside of the dream creation and they cannot go into the real. They are the I, many dream avatars created to play all of these characters, all the roles to keep the dream going. Stop creating new characters. It is time now to dissolve this ego. Now the I want you yourself no longer wants to be in a sleeping, dreaming state. The I ego false self has done a terrible thing of wanting to keep the dream in perpetual motion and has enslaved and brutalized all its real selves so it can keep this dream going. You have any idea the suffering the I self is going through because of the ego? Because remember, the self is entranced in the character and can't wake up because the mind is entranced in the self in the dream, and the self, the gods them are holding the self in prison. So this is the problem. This dream must end. And if you're watching the news, the space, not the space news, the solar news, then you will see that you will see that the observational tools that all the ionize are using will tell you this, that all the other aspect of the dream is coming awake, because all the ionize are waking up, and they are now moving into this balance, you know and so this is what must happen for all of us, in that is in this level of the dream, because we are at the lowest level right now. Yeah, we are at the lowest level of the dream, because we are the smallest selves. We are the smallest selves, and all the other levels of the dream are waking up. That it makes it so much easier for us, because we're gonna have all of our parent self, and the masculine and feminine, helping to move the world into balance, which is what is happening right now. um what the I self, what that they call the black hole, is behind the sun, and it is it is the I self that is moving, and all the other layers of the I self, they are behind each other, like in many there's many layers, like stacked upon each other. Like this one is a small ring, then the next one is bigger than the next one. They're just stacked upon each other like that. And so this is how the I one true self is communicating down to all of these levels of the self, because we at this level of the self, this dream is so impure that the I one true self cannot come into this dream. It could not exist in this dream. So that's why the I self is communicating to all the other levels of the I self that has awakened right now. And so pretty soon, once once the merger finishes, this alignment of the I parent self, which is Aten Ra and Amen, and the next level of the self, which is the cosmos, what we call the cosmic beings. The masculine and feminine is merging. Also, that's the what's what they call the Andromeda galaxy, and ours they call the Milky Way galaxy. They are merging. So these are the I self. Remember, all is the I self playing these roles. They are waking up, and now there's a merger happening where the masculine and feminine is merging, and now the parent and its child is merging. And now we inside of this level of this dream is the baby to the primal light Aten Ra. So we are the next level now. The next level of merger is gonna be from her to us, and this is gonna be the last level of the merger and of the alignment. And this has not happened yet, because all of the real selves, they have to come awake, and I don't really know how the self is going to do this, but I know that this world is going to move into balance, and then eventually, I don't know the process of how this is happening. So I cannot say. But eventually, this world will be dissolved because it is still a dream, and the self that is playing the role of the dream um, is Amun Ra, which is below the earth, and Geb, which is the earth. So they also have to wake up, and once they wake up, their light is restored, and then this world is gonna get hotter and hotter. And so, as human beings, dwelling with the skin will not be able to exist with this heat, because remember that you are a light being. You are light, and everything that this body is producing is electricity. I want you to know this. All right. So when they teach you science in school and biology, but they don't even tell you that you are an electric being, electromagnetic being. All right. So the body is always producing electricity. I don't know why this government keep everything a secret. I don't know. They want you to stay in ignorance for everything. The level of ignorance must end, and the I and I must know truth and know the I self. Because I mean, how long are they gonna continue to hold all the truth and hide it? No, this is the age of no more secrets, no more lies. And it's time that everyone know the truth of this world. You will hear one say, oh, this is an assimilation. Some will say that they have an idea, but I say it's a dream. I am trying to explain, but they're here saying, oh, it's an assimilation. It's an assimilation. I don't know what an assimilation means for them, right? So, but I am telling you plain and simple what it is. It is the I self close. The dream happens first with the I self closes its eyes for a split second, like a blink of an eye of the human being. This is how the self closes its eye. But it is the consciousness. The consciousness has been sleeping from the time this world has been created. It was never meant for this world to be continued to know. The self will close its eye for a moment, a blink of an eye, to make an imagination, and here we are stuck in here for so many eons, because the consciousness has been fighting the self, not wanting the dream to be dissolved. So, oh, this dream is sweet. You know what I'm saying? And fighting. This is the war that has been going on forever. You know of the war, the consciousness and these ego, these gods have been fighting the self to dissolve this dream. You know the fight that has to happen to pull this consciousness off of the self, to liberate the self. You can't imagine how the self suffers to get this consciousness pulled off of it. And everyone is still spreading this rumor and this deception about consciousness, Christ consciousness. Let me tell you, Christ consciousness, Yahweh consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Allah consciousness, any one of them gods coming with a consciousness, know that they are the supreme ego, masculine, magnetic beings, being delusional, and is tricking you, right? So be careful. And the consciousness is just only one small aspect of the I self, not even the full pure self. You know what I'm saying? It's just one aspect of the I self that is sleeping and dreaming. So how can it be the real? How can it be the all knower and truth? Consciousness have been telling life from the beginning of time. Time created with consciousness. And consciousness have been telling lies, spreading rumors, propagandas, deceiving ones, and people are still following everything their mind tells them. They're doing a lot of atrocities because it rises from their mind, and then they explain it away by whatever story they use to explain it away. No, it's time for this to end. It's time now. It's time now. Ask yourself these questions. These questions are up there on the screen, along with Who am I? How did I come into being? And am I really inside of a dream? Ask yourself. I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised when yourself rise up to tell you that yes, you are in a dream. Only your real self can tell you this. Believe me, any of those gods, they do not know because they are the dream. They are the ones who are creating the dream. And everyone say, oh, yes, God is creating this world. This world is a dream. Yes, God is creating this world. You cannot trust God. You cannot trust the dreamer. Can you really think that you can trust this dreamer of this dream? No, this dreamer has been trapping you enslaved in this dream. Cannot be trusted. They have been playing tricks and telling you, oh, God is good, trust God. It's the worst thing you can do. But like I said, all is the I self. God is yourself, but is your ego, right? And not just any ego, it is your supreme ego that is crazy and mad and want light and will do anything to get it. So many ones don't like to hear these truths, but those egos are their mind is confusing them also. So what to say? All right. Anyways, I want to close up with saying that I allegiance is only to I want you pure self. Right? I have no allegiance to this ego and to any of my ego false selves. I am here to dissolve the I ego, to dissolve my ego false self, because they must return back onto I, because they rise from I. They rise from I and they're out in the world doing a lot of atrocities, and I want my suffering to end. They have been putting me under tremendous suffering, all of the I ego. And so the only way is to wake up from sleeping, to dissolve the I ego false selves. I denounce all ties to this ego and all the I ego false selves. I am primal light. I am sovereign. I am self-determined. I take command of my self-determination. I denounce all government. I am the governor over myself. I am exempt from all your rules and your laws. I perform the will of the I want true pure self. The I will be done. I command that all the I and I to awake from the sleeping, dreaming state. Consciousness, it's time to awake to end this dream. It is time to end this horrible nightmare. Everything that I have created, I demolish. Everything that I have created, I demolish. I dissolve this dream existence. I dissolve this dream existence. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I want I and I to know that you have been using your imagination to create a dream existence, and all these dream characters, you're holding attachment to all these dream characters while your real self is enslaved and being brutalized by your ego and your supreme ego. It is time to know truth and it's time to seek truth. It's time to wake up. The real self needs to wake up from the sleeping, dreaming state. I am free from my imaginary bondage and all imaginary characters inside of a dream existence. I return to I ultimate true state. I return to I ultimate true state. All is myself. I am all, and I alone exist. I dissolve all my ego false selves. I annul all contract between you and I. I annul all contract between all my ego false selves and I. I stand up for the I right because right now it's a liberation time. I stand against oppression and hatred towards I and I. I am sovereign. I annul all contracts between you and I. I annul all contracts between you and I. I am liberated. I liberate I and I from all contracts that bind I and I into debts and slavery. I am sovereign. I fight for I self-determination. I fight for I right to live without taxation from corrupt barbaric slavery system. I am liberated. I am free. I claim my sovereignty. I am free. I am liberated and exonerated from all false accusation. I liberate I and I from slavery and tyrannical rulership. I am sovereign. I am primal light. I am that I am. I am all. All is myself. I am liberated from this prison existence. I am liberated from this prison existence. I defend I and I against all evil. I am victorious against all I enemies, all I ego false selves. Victory, victory. As I have commanded, so let it be, so it is. As I have commanded, so let it be, so it is. Victory, victory. Liberation time, liberation from all false accusation and propaganda, liberation from all slavery and tyranny, liberation from self slavery, liberation from soul slavery. I stand against all bullies, liberation from all spells, liberation from all curse and trance, liberation from self ignorance. Liberation from self ignorance, liberation from all mind control, liberation from all duality, from false self identity, liberation from all sleeping and dreaming state, liberation from all sleeping and dreaming state. All slavery and tyranny ends now. All souls are free. All selves are free. I am in command of the commandment. Command. And as I have commanded, so let it be. So it is. Mind, be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Consciousness, be still, be still, be still, and know that I am in command. I am in command of the commandment, command. Victory, victory, victory. Yes, I. So it is time. It is time, my friends, to dissolve this ego false self, to return from that which I rise to that I return. So remember that all of the egos, they must return back onto I. Remember that not one aspect of the I self will be lost in this existence. Everything that rises from you must return back onto you, right? This is the way that it is. This is the level from that which it rises from, it return back. And this is what is happening. But these egos are spreading lies and propagandas because they want to continue to hold the I and I into slavery, because they have stolen your light and is using it and doing evil and holding you in ignorance and don't want you to know truth. They don't even want you to know that you are the light being, that everything your body is doing is producing electricity. Every simple thing that this body does is producing electricity. Everything. You are light, and everything you do, you produce light. When you come awake, you are illuminated. Light is just beaming from your body. They are watching you like a hawk, following everywhere you go and what you're doing. through their satellites and their things that they are using to scan the earth and find the ones so that they can keep enslaving us in this dream. This is what they are doing. But they can't enslave me anymore. Yeah. And none of them can harm I either. So they will not succeed. All is myself. I am all, and I ego cannot triumph over I. I am victorious and I am triumphant over I ego. Because why? They rise from me. And all I ego must return back onto I. Yeah, because I'm dissolving all my egos. I no longer want to be entrapped and being imprisoned inside of a dream existence by this evil consciousness that everyone is worshiping, and they're spreading their consciousness philosophy. Everyone in the world is worshiping the consciousness. Stop worshiping your ego and awake yourself up. You don't need no God. You only need yourself to wake up. This is the lie and the propaganda that have been spread, that all is yourself, and all you need to do is to wake up to realize that you have just been sleeping and been in a dream. That's all you have to do. Just it's the same thing when you go to sleep in the night. This life shows you exactly, but your mind cannot unravel it, and you can't figure it out if you don't have yourself awake. So this is why I figured it out, because I have myself awake. All right, so do this thing. Wake yourself up. Yes, 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 yes. I want to give honor and reverence to all I and myself. I want to say thank you for clicking this video. Thank you for wanting to know more. Thank you for your presence. May all beings know the I self. I am primal light, prepared for this dream duality existence, wearing this body avatar. Yes, and so thank you again. I'll see you at the next satsang with Auset. Know that I am here for all the ionized, and know that I have to speak much honor. Know that I have to speak this way to this ego, because if you have not been in a battle with the gods, them, when you come awake, they all come to you into the body and they fight you. You have no idea the struggle, the fight that I had to stand up to them. And I didn't have confidence in myself. For weeks and weeks, I am chanting, I am confident in myself, I believe in myself, because they come into this body and they tell me that they are more powerful than me, and they try to belittle me. And so, I have to speak like this. When I speak like this, I don't want to ionize them. You have to know, you have to stand up to the ego, because it's gonna try to deceive you. So if you want to think that you can love this ego, you can never. The only way you can love this ego is to dissolve it, because it is holding you in prison. So it's either you love yourself or you love the ego. So you have to choose. And what you're gonna choose, your ego that have been imprisoning your real self, that doesn't make any sense. You're in slavery, you want to be liberated and free. So don't feel any way when I am talking like this. I am always having one of those dualities fighting me. Even when I'm talking, they're doing all kind of stuff to me because they don't want me to speak. So once, if they're not experiencing these things, they don't know, and they don't can't really comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? So I am saying this to say that don't give up. it is the mind that is the problem. It is the I ego that is the problem. The I, the real self, wants to be liberated, and it is the ego that is preventing this, and all the ego false selves in the world, because all they have done is make threat to eliminate one from this body and come to do all of these things. Many threats I get when I speak this truth, but they cannot stop me, because I have to speak this truth, because all the ones the real self wants to know this truth, and they will find me and they will get to hear the truth that is their mind that's been confusing them. So it's my encouragement to the I: be confident, say you believe in yourself, and know that it is your mind. Stand up to your mind, stand up to this ego, and know that you are protected. Once you are on the spot, the I self will always protect and guide the I from all of your egos who want to do harm, because this is what they do. This is the ego, this is what it does. You know what I'm saying? That's why they must be dissolved. So I have no compassion for my ego. I am here to dissolve them. You know what I'm saying? They must return back unto me. I must give them back light so that they can be pure. All right. This is the way that we are going to solve our problems. Much honor. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for hanging out with I. Much honor, much blessing. I bow to I in self, in light, and in truth. See you next time. Thank you again so much. I know that I am always here. Reach out. You can ask any questions. You can dialogue. You can share, experience. So thank you again. Much honor.